Everyone, we live in a world that constantly demands our attention. Social media, opinions of others, and the pressure to prove ourselves often distract us from what truly matters, our own growth. Today, I want to talk about the power of focusing on yourself and staying silent while you build your dreams. Many of us waste time seeking validation from others. We share our plans, announce our goals, and look for approval. But the truth is, success doesn't come from noise, it comes from silent, consistent effort. When you focus on yourself, you eliminate distractions and give yourself the energy needed to grow. Silence is powerful. It allows you to observe, to learn, and to execute without interference. When you work in silence, people will only see results, not empty promises. Let your progress speak for itself. Think of the greatest achievers. Many of them worked in silence, allowing their success to make the noise. Instead of telling people what you will do, show them what you have done. Instead of explaining your vision, embody it. So today I encourage you, stop explaining, stop seeking approval, and start focusing on yourself. Work in silence, learn in silence, grow in silence. And when the time is right, your success will do all the talking for you. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. When you choose to remain silent, you give yourself the space to think clearly, observe situations deeply, and understand the world around you without unnecessary distractions. Many people feel the urge to constantly speak, to express their thoughts, and to seek validation from others, but this often leads to wasted energy. Instead of explaining your every move, you should focus on taking action. Silence allows you to cultivate patience and discipline, two qualities that are essential for success in any area of life. When you are silent, you are not distracted by the noise of the world, and you can direct all your attention towards self-improvement. The most successful individuals understand the power of silence. They do not announce their plans or seek approval before taking action. They simply work behind the scenes and let their results do the talking. By staying silent, you also protect your energy. You avoid unnecessary conflicts, meaningless debates, and the negativity that often comes from oversharing. People cannot interfere with your progress if they do not know your next move. Silence gives you control. It keeps you focused, makes you unpredictable, and allows you to move strategically. It also helps you build a sense of mystery, which often commands more respect than constantly explaining yourself. When you learn to master the power of silence, you gain an advantage over those who waste their energy on words instead of actions. Many people spend their time and energy trying to explain themselves to others, seeking approval, or justifying their choices. This habit drains them of the very energy they need to grow and evolve. Instead of worrying about what others think, that energy should be redirected towards self-improvement. Imagine how much more progress you could make if you used that time to develop your skills, work on your goals, and become a better version of yourself. Every moment spent trying to convince someone of your worth is a moment taken away from your personal growth. The truth is, no matter how much you explain yourself, people will always have their own opinions. Some will support you, others will doubt you, and some may even hope for your failure. But their opinions do not define your potential. What truly matters is the effort you put into yourself. When you focus inward, you create a powerful shift in your life. You stop seeking external validation and start relying on your own inner strength. This allows you to build confidence and self-discipline. The more you work on yourself, the less you feel the need to explain anything to anyone. People will begin to see the changes in you through your actions and results rather than through words. When you channel your energy into becoming better instead of proving yourself to others, you gain the ultimate freedom, freedom from judgment, freedom from doubt, and freedom from external expectations. True power comes from within, and when you invest in yourself, you become unstoppable. In a world filled with distractions, focusing on yourself is one of the most valuable things you can do. Everywhere you look, there are people and situations trying to pull your attention in different directions. Social media, gossip, and external pressures can easily consume your thoughts, leaving you drained and unmotivated. The more you allow these distractions to take over, the harder it becomes to stay committed to your personal goals. When you make a conscious decision to focus solely on yourself, you take back control of your time, energy, and mental space. Instead of worrying about what others are doing or saying, you start paying attention to what truly matters: your growth, your happiness, and your success. Distractions are often disguised as entertainment, unnecessary conversations, and meaningless comparisons. The more you engage in them, the further you drift away from your true potential. By eliminating these distractions, you create a clear path for yourself. You gain clarity about what you want in life, and more importantly, you develop the discipline needed to achieve it. When you focus on yourself, you stop measuring your progress based on someone else's timeline. You understand that everyone's journey is different, and the only competition you should have is with the person you were yesterday. This mindset allows you to move forward without unnecessary stress or pressure. Focusing on yourself is not about being selfish, it's about recognizing that in order to give your best to the world, you first need to become your best self. The moment you fully commit to your own journey without distractions, you unlock a level of success and fulfillment that no external validation can ever provide. Many people get caught up in the opinions and expectations of others, allowing themselves to be easily swayed by external influences. When you focus on yourself, you create a protective barrier against unnecessary distractions and negative energy. By eliminating outside noise, you gain clarity on what truly matters to you. The more you allow other people's thoughts and judgments to influence you, the further you stray from your own path. Everyone has an opinion, but not all opinions are valuable. Some people will doubt you, some will criticize you, and others may try to discourage you simply because they do not understand your vision. However, their words do not define your capabilities or your future. When you remain focused on yourself, you build a strong mindset that is not easily shaken by negativity. You begin to trust your instincts and make decisions based on your own values, not on what others think you should do. This is the key to true self-growth. You become more aware of your strengths, weaknesses, and potential. You stop comparing yourself to others and instead focus on your own journey. By doing this, you eliminate unnecessary stress and pressure. The energy that would have been wasted on overthinking and worrying about what others think is now directed toward achieving your goals. When you make a conscious effort to block out distractions and focus inward, you develop self-discipline, confidence, and a deep sense of purpose. The more you invest in yourself, the less outside opinions matter, and the more powerful you become in shaping your own destiny. People often feel the need to announce their goals, plans, and dreams to others, believing that sharing their ambitions will make them more likely to achieve them. However, success does not come from talking, it comes from doing. When you constantly announce your plans, you invite unnecessary pressure and expectations from others. Some people may genuinely support you, while others may secretly hope for your failure. The moment you share your vision, you open the door to opinions, doubts, and even jealousy. Instead of seeking validation, it is far more effective to work in silence and let your progress speak for itself. When you take action quietly, you are able to move freely without external interference. No one can criticize what they do not know, and no one can sabotage a plan that has not been revealed. This approach allows you to stay focused and work at your own pace. It also eliminates the risk of premature excitement, which often leads to a loss of motivation. When you talk too much about what you are going to do, your brain tricks you into feeling as if you have already accomplished something, reducing your drive to actually put in the effort. Keeping your goals to yourself creates a sense of inner discipline and accountability. Instead of relying on others for motivation, you develop the habit of pushing yourself forward without external encouragement. Over time, your results will speak louder than any words ever could. People will begin to notice the changes in you, not because you told them, but because they can see the transformation for themselves. That is the true mark of success, letting your work do all the talking. Many people seek validation from others, but in that their worth is determined by external approval. They constantly look for reassurance, waiting for someone else to confirm that they are on the right path. This need for validation can be a major obstacle to personal growth because it places your self-worth in the hands of others. When you rely on external approval, you give away your power. You start making decisions based on what will please others instead of what is truly best for you. The problem with seeking validation is that it is never ending. No matter how much approval you receive, it will never be enough because there will always be new opinions, new expectations, and new doubts from others. True confidence comes from within. When you focus on yourself and trust your own judgment, you stop depending on others to validate your choices. You become more independent, stronger, and more secure in who you are. Instead of worrying about whether people approve of your actions, you focus on what makes you happy and fulfilled. Seeking validation often leads to unnecessary stress and anxiety because you are constantly trying to meet someone else's expectations. But the moment you realize that you do not need anyone's approval to live your life, you free yourself from this burden. You gain a sense of inner peace, knowing that your value is not defined by how others perceive you. The most successful and fulfilled people are those who have learned to validate themselves. They trust their instincts, take action without hesitation, and focus on what truly matters to them. When you stop seeking validation and start believing in yourself, you unlock a level of confidence and freedom that allows you to achieve your greatest potential. Many people believe that success comes from making grand announcements and constantly talking about their plans. However, the truth is that real success does not need to be broadcasted. When you focus on working hard in silence, you eliminate the distractions that come with unnecessary discussions and external expectations. Talking too much about your goals can create an illusion of progress. When you tell others what you plan to do, your brain experiences a small sense of accomplishment, making you feel as if you have already taken a step forward when in reality nothing has changed. This false sense of achievement often reduces motivation because the excitement of sharing your plans can replace the drive to actually work on them. On the other hand, when you stay silent and put in the effort behind the scenes, you maintain your momentum. Your focus remains on the process rather than the perception of success. Another reason to avoid announcing your plans is that not everyone will support you. Some people may discourage you intentionally or unintentionally by questioning your abilities or planting seeds of doubt. Others might secretly hope that you fail. By keeping your goals to yourself, you protect your dreams from negative energy. You give yourself the space to work without interference, allowing you to build confidence through action rather than through words. The most powerful statement you can make is not with your voice, but with your results. When you focus on executing your plans quietly, you create a sense of mystery and unpredictability. People will not see your struggles or your efforts, but they will see the undeniable proof of your hard work when success finally speaks for itself. Seeking validation is one of the biggest obstacles to personal growth. Many people spend their lives looking for approval from others, believing that they need external confirmation to feel valuable or capable. This constant need for validation often leads to hesitation, self-doubt, and a lack of confidence. Instead of trusting their own instincts, they rely on the opinions of others to determine whether they are making the right choices. The problem with seeking validation is that it places your self-worth in the hands of people who may not even understand your vision. No matter how much approval you receive, it will never be enough because external validation is temporary. People's opinions change, trends shift, and what is praised today may be criticized tomorrow. If you build your confidence on the foundation of others' approval, you will always be at their mercy. True confidence comes from self-acceptance and self-trust. When you stop looking for validation and start believing in yourself, you gain a sense of independence that cannot be shaken by external criticism. You become more resilient because you are no longer waiting for permission to pursue your goals. You take control of your own life, making decisions based on what aligns with your values and aspirations rather than on what others expect from you. The most successful individuals are those who do not seek validation, but instead create their own path regardless of whether people approve or not. They understand that their growth is personal and does not require an audience. When you let go of the need for validation, you gain true freedom, the freedom to be yourself, to make mistakes, to learn, and to grow without fear of judgment. One of the most important lessons in life is understanding that your growth is personal. Too often, people get caught up in comparing their progress to others, feeling pressured to meet certain expectations or timelines that are not their own. They measure their success based on societal standards or the achievements of their peers, forgetting that everyone has a unique journey. The truth is, no two paths are the same. Some people may reach their goals faster than others, while some may take longer. However, the speed at which you progress is not as important as the consistency and dedication you put into your growth. When you focus on yourself, you stop worrying about how far ahead or behind you are compared to others. You start appreciating your own efforts and progress, no matter how small. Growth is not about competing with anyone else. It is about becoming better than you were yesterday. The only person you should strive to outgrow is your past self. The moment you shift your focus from external comparisons to internal development, you gain a sense of peace and confidence that allows you to move forward with clarity. You begin to realize that success is not measured by how quickly you reach your goals, but by how much you learn and evolve along the way. Every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. When you embrace your own journey without worrying about others, you develop a deeper sense of fulfillment and motivation. You no longer feel the need to rush or prove anything to anyone. Instead, you enjoy the process of growth, knowing that your path is unfolding exactly as it should. The greatest advantage of focusing on yourself is the ability to build a strong, disciplined mindset. When you invest in self-improvement, you become more aware of your strengths and weaknesses, allowing you to make better decisions and grow in all areas of life. Personal development is a continuous process that requires commitment, patience, and consistency. Many people seek shortcuts or quick fixes hoping to achieve success overnight, but true growth takes time. It requires discipline, the ability to stay committed to your goals even when no one is watching. When you focus on yourself, you develop habits that strengthen your mind and character. You learn to set priorities, manage your time effectively, and build the resilience needed to overcome challenges. Distractions become less appealing because you are driven by a clear sense of purpose. Instead of wasting time on meaningless activities or seeking external validation, you dedicate your energy to things that bring real progress. A disciplined mindset also protects you from self-doubt and fear. When you are confident in your abilities and focused on self-growth, you stop second-guessing yourself. You take action without hesitation, knowing that every effort you make contributes to your long-term success. Over time, this discipline turns into a way of life. It becomes second nature to stay consistent, to keep learning, and to push yourself beyond your limits. The strongest individuals are not those who talk the most about their ambitions, but those who silently work on themselves every single day. By prioritizing your own growth, you set yourself up for success that is built on a solid foundation, one that cannot be easily shaken by external opinions, failures, or setbacks. Many people fall into the trap of comparing themselves to others, constantly measuring their progress based on external achievements rather than their own growth. This habit can be incredibly destructive because it shifts focus away from personal development and towards unrealistic expectations. When you constantly compare yourself to others, you put unnecessary pressure on yourself and create self-doubt. You start believing that you are not good enough, not fast enough, or not successful enough simply because someone else seems to be ahead. But the reality is that everyone has their own unique timeline, their own struggles, and their own journey. No two people start from the same place, and no two people have the same opportunities or challenges. When you focus on yourself, you recognize that your growth is independent of anyone else's. Your only competition should be the person you were yesterday. Instead of wasting energy worrying about how someone else is doing, redirect that energy into becoming better at your own craft, developing your own skills, and achieving your own personal milestones. Growth is a personal experience, and when you embrace your own path without distractions, you develop a deeper appreciation for the progress you make. Every small step forward, every lesson learned, and every challenge overcome is a victory in itself. The key to success is not found in comparison, but in self-discipline and persistence. When you stop looking at others and start focusing on your own journey, you realize that you are exactly where you need to be. Growth is not a race, it is a lifelong process of continuous learning, self-improvement, and perseverance. Many people waste valuable time and energy on unnecessary explanations, trying to justify their actions, decisions, and choices to others. They feel the need to prove themselves, to explain why they are doing what they are doing, and to gain approval before taking action. This habit not only slows down progress, but also weakens confidence. When you constantly explain yourself, you give away your power. You allow others to have control over your decisions because you are seeking their validation before fully committing to your own path. The truth is, you do not owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live your life. Your dreams, goals, and ambitions are yours alone, and you do not need permission to pursue them. Instead of explaining, focus on doing. People will always have opinions, but those opinions do not define your reality. Some may criticize, some may doubt, and some may try to discourage you, but none of that matters as long as you believe in yourself. When you stop explaining and start acting, you take back control of your life. You gain confidence in your own decisions, knowing that you are following your own path without being influenced by unnecessary opinions. People respect action more than words. They may not understand your vision at first, but once they see the results, they will have no choice but to acknowledge your success. The most powerful individuals are not those who seek approval, but those who move forward regardless of whether others agree with them or not. When you embrace this mindset, you become unstoppable. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to focus on themselves is the fear of judgment. They hesitate to take risks, to step out of their comfort zones, and to pursue their goals because they are afraid of what others will think. This fear holds people back from reaching their full potential. It creates self-doubt and prevents action. The truth is, no matter what you do, people will always have opinions. Some will support you, some will criticize you, and some will not care at all. You cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control how you react to their opinions. The key is to stop seeking external validation and to develop inner confidence. When you focus on yourself and your goals, you stop worrying about whether others approve of your choices. You understand that your life is your own and that you do not need to meet anyone else's expectations. True freedom comes from being able to pursue your passions without fear of judgment. When you let go of this fear, you become more focused, more productive, and more fulfilled. You start making decisions based on what makes you happy, not based on what will please others. The moment you stop caring about judgment, you gain the ability to move forward without hesitation. You become more fearless, more ambitious, and more determined to succeed on your own terms. The world is full of distractions, and if you are not careful, they can pull you away from your goals. Social media, negative influences, and unnecessary conversations can consume your time and energy, leaving you drained and unmotivated. Many people do not realize how much of their potential is wasted simply because they allow distractions to control their focus. Every time you engage in meaningless debates, compare yourself to others online, or give attention to negativity, you are taking away valuable time that could be used for personal growth. The key to success is learning to eliminate distractions and protect your mental space. This does not mean isolating yourself completely, but it does mean being intentional about where you invest your energy. When you focus on yourself, you develop the discipline to block out noise and prioritize what truly matters. You begin to see how much more you can achieve when you are not constantly being pulled in different directions. Productivity increases, creativity flourishes, and motivation stays strong. The most successful people understand the importance of guarding their focus. They do not waste time on things that do not serve their purpose. They set clear boundaries, limit their exposure to distractions, and remain committed to their goals. When you make the decision to focus on yourself and remove unnecessary distractions, you unlock a new level of efficiency and success. Many people live their lives waiting for the perfect moment to start. They hesitate, overthink, and delay their actions because they believe they need more time, more resources, or more approval before moving forward. This mindset creates a cycle of inaction. The reality is there will never be a perfect moment. Waiting only leads to missed opportunities and wasted potential. The most successful people understand that action is more important than perfection. They take the first step even when they feel unprepared because they know that progress comes from doing, not from waiting. When you focus on yourself, you stop waiting for permission to chase your dreams. You stop overanalyzing every decision and start taking bold actions. Growth happens when you step out of your comfort zone and trust yourself to figure things out along the way. The longer you wait, the more opportunities you lose. Every day that passes without action is a day wasted. The difference between those who succeed and those who do not is simple. Successful people take action despite uncertainty. They do not let fear, doubt, or hesitation hold them back. They trust that they will learn, adapt, and grow as they go. When you embrace this mindset and stop waiting, you unlock unlimited possibilities. You realize that success is not about having everything figured out in advance. It is about taking consistent action and learning through experience. The sooner you start, the sooner you will see results. Many people allow their emotions to control their actions, making impulsive decisions based on temporary feelings rather than long-term goals. While emotions are a natural part of life, letting them dictate your choices can be detrimental to your progress. When you focus on yourself, you learn to manage your emotions rather than being controlled by them. You develop emotional intelligence, which allows you to respond to situations rationally rather than react impulsively. Life is full of challenges, setbacks, and disappointments, but how you handle them determines your success. If you let frustration, anger, or sadness take over, you risk making decisions that you will later regret. On the other hand, when you learn to stay calm and composed, you can navigate difficult situations with clarity and confidence. Emotional control does not mean suppressing your feelings. It means understanding them and choosing how to respond in a way that benefits you. Many successful people have mastered the ability to remain focused despite emotional ups and downs. They do not allow temporary setbacks to shake their confidence or derail their progress. Instead, they acknowledge their emotions, process them, and move forward with a clear mind. Developing this level of self-control takes time, but it is one of the most valuable skills you can acquire. It allows you to stay focused on your goals, maintain discipline, and make thoughtful decisions that align with your long-term success. The more you practice emotional control, the stronger and more resilient you become. You learn to separate your feelings from your actions, ensuring that your choices are guided by logic and purpose rather than fleeting emotions. When you master this skill, you gain the ability to stay focused, motivated, and in control of your own life. Silence is one of the most powerful tools a person can use. In a world where people constantly seek attention and validation, the ability to stay silent and observe is a skill that sets you apart. When you choose to remain quiet, you gain the ability to truly listen, understand, and analyze situations from a place of wisdom rather than impulse. Many people speak just to fill the silence without considering whether their words add value. They share their plans too soon, seek approval from others, or react emotionally in moments when restraint would serve them better. However, silence allows you to maintain control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It gives you the space to reflect before responding, preventing unnecessary conflicts or regrets. It also keeps people guessing. When you do not reveal too much about yourself, others are left uncertain about your next move, making it difficult for them to interfere with your plans. Additionally, silence allows you to conserve your energy. Engaging in unnecessary conversations, defending yourself against criticism, or explaining yourself to those who do not understand your vision can be exhausting. Instead of wasting time trying to prove your worth to others, staying silent allows you to focus that energy on improving yourself. People often underestimate the power of silence because they associate it with weakness or passivity, but in reality, silence is a sign of strength. It shows that you do not need external validation to feel confident in your own path. Those who speak less and observe more gain insight into the intentions of others, allowing them to make smarter decisions. They avoid unnecessary drama, do not get involved in meaningless arguments, and remain unaffected by negativity. Silence is also a tool for self-discipline. When you do not feel the need to constantly explain yourself or respond to every opinion, you develop mental toughness. You learn to value your own judgment rather than seeking approval from others. You stop engaging in unproductive discussions and start channeling your energy into meaningful actions. The strongest people are not those who speak the loudest, but those who let their results do the talking. Success does not require announcements, it requires effort, patience, and consistency. By choosing silence, you maintain focus, build confidence, and create an air of mystery that keeps people wondering about your next move. The less you say, the more power you hold over your own life. In the end, the greatest power you can have is the ability to focus on yourself without seeking validation, without unnecessary distractions, and without the need to explain yourself to others. Your growth is your responsibility, and your success will be the result of your dedication, discipline, and silent effort. The world does not need to hear about your every move. Let your results speak for themselves. Stay focused, stay patient, and trust the process. Work in silence, improve yourself every day, and watch how your success becomes the loudest statement you ever make.